Hey, Professor Marsling. So with our project, you told us to do two anti-normal things and two
socially not normal things, to put it in other ways. And so the first couple things that I came up with was like, they're pretty crazy, but I kind of in the end just try to use this as an excuse to just be socially awkward, and I just said it was part of the project. So one of the very first things that I did was that I was sitting in class with this guy in math, and the guy in math had a really long beard, and as I was sitting next to him,
I just reached over and started caressing his beard, like, he's doing that.
Having it in that motion, and the guy kind of was just looking at me like, what are you doing? But then he started laughing because he thought it was funny for some reason. And so that wasn't socially awkward as much as I thought it'd be, because the guy just thought it was funny. But you know, a lot of the people around me were staring at me and looking at me. And the very next thing, the picture of me and this guy with the cross that says "Save Jesus." And after the conference was over, there was more protesters that gathered, and there's a guy ranting on about the Bible. And as he was ranting on about the Bible, I approached him and I wanted to take a picture with him also. And the guy was trying to avoid me, and all these Mormons were looking at me like, what? What's this kid doing? And he kept trying to avoid me and avoid me and avoid me. And I could tell that it really freaked a lot of people out. They were wondering why I was even talking to them or doing this thing. And I just like to say it was really nice to be able to do all these socially awkward things and just blame it on you and say, oh, it was my teacher's telling me to do. And so this was a really fun project, and what I learned from it was that, like, I think some things we take for granted, like they're not really as socially awkward as we think they are. People just like assume they're going to be. So it really stops us from socializing. And so one of the biggest things I learned from this project was that even though we may think it's socially not normal, there might be people that do. And that's my video. That I did was I went over to the library and I walked into the elevator backwards, and there's this guy there, and the guy was looking at me, and I looked back at him and he also had a long beard, and I was like, so how long did it take you to grow that long beard? And he replied, just kind of chuckling, and said, oh, it just took me a couple months. And I thought that wasn't nearly as socially awkward as I wanted it to be. So I was sitting in class and I was behind this one girl, and I started sniffing her hair, and she was just like, thought it was funny too. So I was like, why do people keep thinking this is funny? So this next socially awkward thing was something that's socially awkward against this culture in Utah. We went over to, I had the privilege of going over to General Conference on Saturday, where all the Mormons gather, and there's a whole bunch of protesters there. And I approached one of the protesters, and I was like, sir, can I have a hug with you? And it took him out of belief, and like all these people that were staring at me like, why is he talking to a protester? So I took a picture with this guy, and I would like to show you the picture. Dang it.